I need you to love yourself. It seems so simple, and yet for some reason or another, it's hard for most of us to look in the mirror and smile. Today I'm hoping that maybe this speech and my story can change that, even if it's just for one person. My story is of abuse, and it's an ugly one. There's no way to sugarcoat it. I was in an abusive relationship. It's terrifying and completely awful, but it did teach me one thing, and that there's no reason for self-hatred. I've done research on it using several articles about depression, anxiety, and self-deprecation, and it's just appalling how many of us can't stand ourselves. I myself can't stand to watch it anymore, and I need to do something, anything, to help. Because there's nothing worse than having someone you love and trust take control of your life and make it into their own twisted puppet show. I would know. I used to hate talking about it. The thought of reliving my only experience with love that left literal scars filled me with anger. I had no pity. I was only angry at myself for letting it go on for so long. But now I choose to speak about it because I want others to learn from my mistakes. The problem is that so many of us are taught to live in fear of being reprimanded so that our pride does not become vanity. We use self-deprecation to cover up our insecurities and anxieties over the life we live. According to the Anxiety and Depression Association of America, anxiety disorders affect around 18% of our population. Sadly, they also report that only 1/3 of us suffering will actually go and get treatment. I, like many others, chose to hide my feelings and troubles for many years. It's easy for us to pretend that nothing is happening rather than facing the problem head-on. Dr. LeBune from Psychology Today calls this smiling depression. It's where we create masks so that the outside world sees none of our troubles, but internally we sit and suffer in silence. The solution seems simple. If you cannot help yourself, ask for it. So many of us have such a hard time with just asking for help. It makes us seem weak. We need to change the stigma against this. Asking for help shouldn't be so difficult. Diana Derringer writes that 7 out of every 10 people over the period of a week admitted to needing help, but not asking for it. It's crazy that the fear we have, and sometimes our own independence, takes precedent over our own lives. People who are in abusive relationships are taught to feel as we are lesser and bothersome, so that we never leave. If only we knew. We need not only to teach ourselves to love, but to teach the future generations that they are more than just an illness, more than just a label. Help children learn how to stand up for themselves, but treat others with respect. To me, the future depends on the next generation and how we teach them to love. Our future is their future, and it all depends on how much we respect ourselves and make examples of kindness and generosity. Today, loveisrespect.org says that about 1.5 million high school-age students are in abusive relationships, and only 33% of them will ever report it. But it doesn't stop there, because the Domestic Violence Center reports 80% of people who have been physically hurt in a relationship will continue dating their partner. I know that if I had respected myself more at the time, I would have never stayed in my abusive relationship for so long. But we cannot blame ourselves, and even more, we cannot blame our abusers because they grew up as bullies in loveless environments where their need for power overwhelmed their own common sense. This is a system that we, together as a society, have created, and I'm here hopefully to try and convince you, one step at a time, to fix that. The first step to reviving love is resurrecting the love for yourself. Can you just once, just for me, look in the mirror tonight when you go home and sit and say to the reflection in the mirror that you love yourself? You don't have to mean it, not just yet. I need you to try it out. Listen to the words pour out of your mouth. If you can, just push yourself. It's just a bit, so maybe one day, if you say it enough, one day you will mean it. Talking about abuse is uncomfortable, and it took a long time for me to even be able to mention it. But it changed my life, both in positive and negative ways. Even though an abusive relationship can be one of the worst things you experience in life, I can't say I didn't learn anything. Life is about standing up for yourself. And that is exactly what it taught me and should teach you. You're worth it, and you deserve the love you bring onto yourself. I know that it's difficult and all the statistics against you, but I need you to try. If not for me, then maybe yourself. Thank you.